My name is Tom. I'm co-founder of COBI, which is a connected bike system for all bikes.
Great. So why don't we start with what do I need to get started? So I have a bike and I come to COBI, and what are my options?
Okay, so COBI is a connected system, which means we have lots of different components. So clearly we have a bundle or a package, which is kind of the right thing for what we think is the right thing as a starting point for our customers. And you can pretty much see that here. Basically what we're doing is finding a way to connect your smartphone into the context of using your bike, both in terms of allowing you to connect different kind of sensors and different kind of electronics, which are increasingly available on bikes, into the app experience, which you can see displayed on the screen.
Okay. So what are the actual pieces that I need to attach to my bike versus how do I set up my smartphone?
Okay. So, I mean, the primary piece is this hub down here. It's this box here. And this basically just slots onto your bike. So if you have an e-bike such as this one, there are typically an adapter on the front, and it just docks on like that. If you have a standard bike, so without an e-drive, then we sell a bracket which allows you to fasten that to your handlebars.
Okay.
And connected to that, you then have things like the light here at the front, as well as a holder for your smartphone, which allows you to slot your smartphone in and out of the system, and provides the smartphone with an interface to get things like power.
Okay, great. So then moving on to the smartphone.
Sure. Okay, so the kind of use cases that we can actually bring to life on the screen, which you can see here, are things like real-time information display. What you just saw there was actually a simulation of what happens when we go faster. Because we're in a bike situation, we're connected to all of the electronics here, we can actually adapt and respond the UI depending on what's actually happening. So if you go fast, you want less information. If you're standing at some traffic lights, you want more information. So we can kind of change the amount of information, the types of information that are available to you depending on where you are. You typically get these kind of information from your standard cycle computer, like how fast you're going, how far you've gone. We can augment that with some specific sensors that we've built in. For example, a barometer, which allows us to give you very accurate information on your rate of climb or descent. You can see that here. We can also add in information that's just drawn from the bike itself. So for example, here you can see it's actually telling you how much battery you have left in your e-bike. And beyond that, one of the interesting things about this being a smartphone-based system is that we have immediate access to web APIs. So, for example, here you can see that outside temperature is currently 0 degrees, quite a chilly morning here in Munich, and we can get all this extra information which you would typically not have on your bike computer because it's not connected to the internet. So these are the kind of first set of use cases. It's just providing you with real-time information about your environment and what you're doing on your bike. Beyond that, sorry, I will...
It's okay. I was going to say, and I saw before that there's some integration with the music that you have on your smartphone. So how would that work if I wanted to listen to music while I was riding my bike?
Okay. So typically in that kind of situation, you'd either have some wired headphones. That's not particularly elegant, but you do see people doing it. Or you may have some wireless headphones connected by Bluetooth. In that situation, you need to be able to have a playlist set up in your iTunes or equivalent if you're using an Android device. Or you can even access Spotify playlist that you typically use through the app. So that's kind of a neat feature. It gives you complete access to all of your entertainment, which you have stored on the bike. We don't recommend you watch a video, but it'll also allow you to take calls, actually. If someone calls you while you're riding, for example, you can actually pick up the call just by pressing one of these buttons here on the side. And you can actually just then talk to the person calling you, a bit like a hands-free in the car.
Okay, and then what about battery life?
Yeah, battery life is obviously one of the key challenges for using a smartphone in this context, and it was really at the core of what the design for COBI. So if you've got an e-bike like this one, we can actually adapt the power from the e-bike system so that it is available to the phone, which essentially gives you unlimited range from the phone. It's constantly getting a charge from the e-bike system. If you're on a standard bike, we have a plug-in battery, which is a 6,000 milliamp hour capacity, which gives you about a 6-hour range then on your typical smartphone. So that's about 4 times what you'd expect if you're just using the smartphone on its own. There's a nice feature as well for European riders particularly, who often use hub dynamos, which is a kind of power generation technology for the front forks. And we can actually hook them directly to COBI, which gives you continual charge from your kinetic energy as you move forward.
One more question. I'm just wondering, when I saw the presentation, you talked about the fact that a lot of people at the company had actually come from the connected car industry. So
Sure.
I'm wondering what lessons you learned there that you're transferring to the connected bike.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I suppose the major lessons, if you like, were the use case itself, and I guess people these days are starting to value mobility or see mobility slightly differently than purely a case of how many horsepower I have on the bonnet. And you know, there are lots of investment taking place in the car industry, looking at additional services that can be provided as a car owner. As well as innovation that's being undertaken by large-scale technology companies like Google and Apple, who are investing in platforms for those kind of use cases. So, you know, there's a lot of insights and inspiration taken from those kind of investments that are being made. On the bike, however, you've got the specific challenge that it needs to be cheap. If you've got a $40,000, $50,000 investment in a vehicle, you know, your connected car system can afford to be, you know, a 4-digit sum. Your bike is typically not that expensive, so we have to make it something which is very, very accessible. And that was really the kind of crux we were going for.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.